very special edition to present to you today. Joining me on a live stream in just a moment will be Kimberly Marshall and her colleagues at Arizona State University, as they are just about to launch an 8-day, 192-hour continuous live stream of John Cage's organ piece. It's called ORGAN2 ASLSP. It means ASLSP means as slowly as possible. So this will be Kimberly Marshall, Diane Luchese, Alexander F. Meszler, and Christopher S. Anderson. So now let me bring them in into the live stream. This should be right. Hold on. There. Wait, I have to put you back on. Hold on a second. There, now I have you. Welcome to the Access Arts live stream.
Fantastic.
Hi.
Hi.
You're so lucky to be here in Arizona. The snow is over my knees out in the yard here in Stockholm now. We've had heavy snowfall for 5 days. So I have already introduced each of you briefly. I've said your names, but if each of you, well, everybody can see this is Kimberly Marshall. And would the other three of you like to introduce yourselves so that our audience knows, can put faces to the names?
Yeah, I'd like to start with Diane Luchese, because she's really the mastermind behind this performance. And
oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, she's a lot of the proportions and the details of the performance. So this is Diane.
Hi, everyone. I teach at Towson University, and I'm an organist.
And this is Alexander Meszler, who is an alum of the ASU Doctoral Musical Arts program.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
We're at Iowa.
And finally, we have Christopher Anderson, who is a longtime colleague and a wonderful scholar who's done a lot of work on 20th century music.
Hi there, and I'm at Southern Methodist University in Dallas.
May I ask how you all happen to know each other? Have you worked together in the past? Because it sounds like you're from all over the map.
Question. Yeah, it's quite a quartet.
Yeah, actually, I didn't know any of them at all. But when I realized that I wanted to do this performance, I started trying to find like-minded people and people who have, either done the performance before or definitely would be, great for it. And so that's how we found each other.
Okay, so wait. So some of you may have done a performance of this work before?
Yes, all three of my colleagues have. I'm the only one who hasn't. Diane has done a 15-hour.
Yeah, in 2009, I did 15 hours.
Okay.
And Chris?
And I did a 16-hour performance in, when even was it? 2023, I think it was.
Okay.
And finally, Alex.
I did a 24-hour performance in 2022, I think.
So I've been learning from them how to prepare for such a gargantuan effort.
Well, this is about 8 times as long as any of those. And the first question that I want to ask, whoever wants to answer, however you want to handle this, is what's in it for you to spend, each of you, 48 hours over 8 days playing this music? I mean, or either as an artist or as a human being, because that's an awful lot. This is like an Olympic sport.
Well, in 2024, when they changed a note in Halberstadt, Germany, and the 639-year performance there, I saw how many people were actually interested in the piece at that point. And I thought it would be really important to have a really long performance, but that a person can hear in their lifetime, because no one's going to live to be 639 years.
Well,
and so, so I wanted it lengthy. This is a bit about commitment and passion. I think we're all very passionate about the pipe organ. And this piece is about sound and time, which musicians are concerned with. But I think we're all sound junkies, you know, and that's what's in it for us.
That's exactly it. She stole my answer. That's it. I think Cage is, as a composer, is all about putting you in a thank you, putting you in a relationship with sound. Whether you call the sound music or not is less important to him. And so really what's in it for us is really experiencing sound and coming out the other end as a different person from when we went in.
Yeah, I agree, and would just add, I think all four of us will come out different people after 8 days of this.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Hopefully for the better.
Hopefully for the better.
Well, now my next question is about this. Since 3 out of the 4 of you have already done it for like 16 hours or something, where did the 8 days come from?
The piece is in 8 sections.
Okay, so the idea is just we'll do a section a day. Was the
Yes.
idea?
That's exactly the idea. Yes, because whatever amount of time you choose,
Mm-hmm.
that determines the way the sounds are projected, because everything is done proportionally. So in Halberstadt, there's a reason they chose 639 years. It has to do with the historical role of the Halberstadt organ, but I won't go into all that now. But for example, Diane could get the hall, if I understand correctly, for 15 hours.
Right. The piece is about what's possible, you know, what tempo is possible. And I would like to say that, you know, when I first played it 15 hours, the second time I played it, I did it in 12 hours, and 3 hours shorter was so unfulfilling. It actually made me really sad, and it felt rushed. I'm dead serious. It felt rushed. And I knew it needed to be slower, but I also know I couldn't be awake for 8 days, you know, so.
I don't think anybody could be awake for 8 days.
Well,
And also, Alex chose 24 hours. And when he did it, he was kind of reflecting the diurnal cycle through his choice of registrations.
Yeah, so when I performed it, I had kind of a registration scheme that involved pulling more stops as the sun rose. As I was waiting for the sun to rise. Of course, I was alone in the hall, even though it was open. Nobody chose to be there at 4 a.m. It turns out.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is what is possible. And we are so fortunate here at Arizona State University because we have this organ hall.
Yes.
And I think this is one of the few places in the world where we could get a hall for 8 days with 2 wonderful instruments in them. A lot of times the constraints of time are imposed by access to the organ.
Well, for you know, this video will be recirculated to a bunch of Facebook groups of organ lovers. So, in the interest of informing them, can you tell me a little bit about the 2 organs that you're going to be using in this performance?
Sure. So the organ behind me, and I'll try to get a good view of it for viewers, is a modern instrument. It was built in 1991 by Paul Fritz of Tacoma, Washington. And as you can see, it's very much in a German-Dutch Baroque style. And then behind me, and this will not unfortunately be captured in the streaming because we only have one camera, which will be focused on the Fritz organ. But behind me, at the back of the hall, is an Italian Baroque instrument. It was built in let me see if you can see that, 1742 by Domenico Traeri for a church in Modena, Italy. And Diane and I will both be using that organ at certain points in the performance. So listeners will hear that at certain points, but primarily we'll be using the Paul Fritz instrument.
Well, what do you mean? When you say at certain points, do you mean that you'll be at the larger organ and then you will walk over to the other organ?
Yes, but we're also using key weights and sandbags because of the length of some of the notes that will be held there. My first note, I start at midnight tonight. Mountain
Yes.
Standard Time. My first note is a pedal note that is held for 2 hours and 10 minutes. So
Right.
obviously, I'm not going to be doing that to
You
my
get cramps
poor
in your leg. Yeah.
for ankles. I will be using a sandbag. And so it's possible that we can use sandbags and key weights. We will be off camera because we'll have to go to the back organ,
Sure.
but we will be able to have the two organs sounding simultaneously at
Well,
points.
I'm wondering about something. I don't know if we can do it here. I did download a copy of a page of the score.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I put it on the screen here, whether you'll be able to see it and explain to me what it is I'm looking at, because I have some familiarity with music. I'm a lyric tenor. I sing, but I'm not a musician. So, if you ask me, well, what's in E flat major, I can't tell you, but if I need to sing it, I will fit into it and I'll follow the melody really well. So I have this image, and let me see if I put it on screen. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. It has I think it has 5 staffs. There are 3 bass clefs and 2 tenor clefs. Can you see that image?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
that's the beginning, isn't it?
Okay, yeah. Can you?
First page.
Okay, what is
It's
that?
the first page, and it has 2 of the 8 movements.
So the notation is called proportional notation,
All right.
where the pitches are indicated by note heads, but those long black lines
Yes.
that are going across, that refers to the duration. So whatever amount of time you've decided that your piece is going to last, you divide that up by the amount of lines, and that's how you get the number of minutes, and that's how you can figure out the length of the long held notes with those black lines.
So in other words, let's say you have 1,000 measures of music. Is this divided into measures?
Now-
No, it's not. No, it doesn't use measures. If
Okay.
you notice, there's no bar lines.
Okay, so you can't divide 192 hours by the number of measures to get the amount of
No.
time that each measure lasts.
But you would take, see, each movement is 2 lines of music. So you take the 192 hours and you divide that by 16, because there's 16 lines of music. And that tells you the number. So each line going across is actually 12 hours
In our performance.
in our performance.
So that first line, that's 12 hours.
Correct.
And to what do these different, you have 2 treble clefs and I think 3 bass clefs.
Right. So we can use stops from different divisions. So that's how we're able to use the back organ. Like, for example, the first notes you hear are on the top staff. That's
Yes.
the back organ. And then the next notes are going to come in on the front organ. And then we can use the other manual to get other sounds.
Now, are any of these clefs are like the lower bass clefs? Are those pedal sounds?
Yes.
Yes.
All 3 of them, or 2 of them? Or...
Well, there's where the interpretation comes in, John. So we can determine how we want to distribute the voices over pedals, over the 2 organs, what registrations we want to use. It's not cast in stone, but generally the bottom bass clef would be for pedal. And then the second one could be either way. It really is a question of interpreting the work.
Okay. And now I have one question, one more question, really. We said we'd go about 15 minutes, and we're approaching that. We can go a little more than that because we had like a half an hour. But my question, it sort of relates to, Kimberly, I know that you were known as an early music specialist early on in your career. Okay, and then later on, you come to become a sound creator, and more than once, Access Arts Live. I'm processing over 1,000 live streams a year that we promote, so it's just an enormous amount of material, and a fair amount of it is various. There are a series of early music content creators, and very often, what I find is that people who are interested in early music are also interested in contemporary sound.
Definitely.
It's as if, my theory is that you've got this block, which is the mainstream classical tradition. It starts with the Baroque and it goes forward to Aaron Copland. Okay, and then let's say, and people get interested in bookending and going around it. And one way to go around it is, well, you go back to early music, before the tradition had consolidated, and the other, it's the very contemporary stuff. And it seems like I'm guessing it's the same impulse. It's how to go around it. And
I think you're exactly right, but there's more to it than that. In my experience, I got frustrated with romantic and 20th century music where everything was notated in the score. And if I were a good interpreter, I was realizing everything notated in the score. And that was fun for a while, and especially thrilling technically, because often that music makes incredible technical demands of the organist. But then I realized the more I went back in time, the more freedom I felt I had to interpret according to my own studies. Of course, I studied historical styles, historical treatises, but I don't know, there's a certain liberation. And I've spoken with other people. I'm seeing some nodding heads next to me. I don't know if we're still on camera. All I'm seeing is the score for the cage.
You should let me take that score down now, because it serves its purpose. Thank you for reminding me. I make mistakes all the time, and not taking it down yet. That was a mistake. So okay.
Yeah, no, but I just want to show. I think my colleagues sort of agree. I think all of them have. Well, I know they've all done a great deal with early music as well, and then contemporary music of a certain ilk. As you know, some contemporary music every single thing is notated ad nauseum by the composer. But of course, John Cage and other composers start incorporating aspects of improvisation or chants, aleatoric aspects. And I think my colleagues find that also very liberating. We find that the organ is not so much being used as a vehicle to render a specific score as much as it's a laboratory of sound, really. And we kind of hear differently, we listen differently. We're all going to be noticing things that we've never heard before. Absolutely. And I know this organ incredibly well. I mean, I've been teaching here for 25 years. So, but even now, Diane and I were doing some experiments for the opening. I should tell viewers the first sound that they're going to hear on the organ is a rest.
Right.
Now that I don't think it really means silence, because as John Cage has shown, there's no such thing really as silence.
Right.
But listeners who are tuning in, the very opening, they will hear 42 minutes without any organ sound. And the first sound will be actually on the triary organ. Diane is going to play the first chord on the triary organ. And we were experimenting with this, and I heard things once the Fritz organ comes in with that. There were beats that I will never experience in another context.
So the interest, this is of interest to organists themselves, other organists, in that it is an exploration of the sonic possibilities of the instrument. Perfectly. And now, is that something that can feed back into the way you play the instrument when you're playing anything on it? I mean, you don't have to stay.
I think an experience like this has an effect also on conventional music, right? And one's approach to conventional.
I would agree.
Yeah. The piece actually teaches you how to listen in a way. It forces you. Even you're not aware it's going to happen. But those of us that have played it before, once you start playing at a slow tempo and hearing those sounds for a long time, you realize that a sustained note is not a static event. There's so much going on in it, and it totally opens up your mind and your ears to how you hear, and you will never listen the same way again. It teaches you how to listen in a whole new way. It forces you. You're not even asking for it.
Well, one thing that I think is interesting about this particular performance is that people enjoying it on the live stream get to enjoy all of it, and in-person audiences don't get to enjoy all of it. 10 o'clock at night,
No,
they've got to go home.
we can't keep the School of Music
I
building.
understand, but if this is like one of the advantages of live streaming, that somebody in Sydney, Australia can just be sitting there and go through the whole, somebody can put the live stream on and have it on in their home for 192 hours.
That's right. And
they
they
can
could
live
sleep,
in this performance.
they could sleep with it. That would actually be wonderful. If there's one person who does all 192 hours, even when they're sleeping, wow, that would be amazing.
Well, I'll see.
We would love that.
I have
We
two
would love to
computers.
hear from them.
Well, we'll put this out and see if anybody does. I have two computers. I'll see how much of it I can do. I might suggest checking in sometime, maybe during the middle of the of these 8 days after the fourth day, and having another chat about how it's going and some of your insights and feedback and experiences with it. How would that sound to any of you? Well, I'll talk to Kimberly about it. We'll see if we can arrange it.
Love it. And
There's
I
just
think all of us will have had some interesting experiences by that point that
Oh my
we
gosh.
could
Many.
relate.
There you go.
And
So
we
you
would
can
love
share
to
it, make
hear-
little notes when it's going along, and I'm sure that especially our organist followers will just be very happy to hear that. One last thing I wanted to ask about it, and our time is running out, but we could perhaps take a moment. I came across something somewhere that said that John Cage had given instructions or guidelines for how to play this. Is that true?
Not really. Not
Okay.
really. Not really.
Right.
In fact, the piece was composed, well, he had written a piece for piano with a similar title, as slow and softly as possible.
Right.
And the organist, Gerd Zocker,
Yeah.
Cage to adapt it and, for the organ. And so when Zocker premiered the piece, I believe the premiere performance was only 23 minutes, which is slow.
Yeah.
But Cage didn't give any, any instructions. He really didn't.
Okay.
There are no registration instructions or dynamic instructions. And I think that's intentional because every organ is different and every context is different. And I think he wants this to be a vehicle for exploring sound as well as time.
Okay, so this is not in a key. There's no key signature.
There is not.
There's no time
That's
signature.
very much not. No.
There's no crescendos.
Well, there could be.
Well,
Yeah, but they're not in the
Anderson
score. The score doesn't have crescendos built into it, or there's the the bullseye with what do you call it? Fermatas. There aren't any fermatas in the score.
No. We can make these kinds of things happen if it occurs to us in the moment.
Yeah, but there are
Right.
two notes in the entire score that have staccato marks.
Right.
And so those notes that would have been there, they would have been about 6 minutes long, but with the staccato, we're doing like half value, 3 minutes. So that's something, staccato.
That gives new meaning to the staccato.
I guess it does. Well, listen, thank you so much. I want to wish you I know you're going to have a wonderful experience over these 8 days. And I just want to register. I think it's an amazing experience that you're creating for people to enjoy. So thank you very much on behalf of all of the followers of Access Arts Live who may actually want to tune in and enjoy some or longer periods of it. It's just fantastic. Thanks a lot for live streaming.
Well, I do want everyone to feel free to give feedback. My website, KimberlyMarshall.com,
Okay.
has information about the piece, an article that Diane wrote about
Okay.
the piece, also a link to the live stream. And even though I don't think there's any way that they can write in on the live stream, they can always contact me through my website.
Okay.
That way, all of us can get feedback from anybody who cares to let us know how they're experiencing things. And then I'm going to try to, perhaps halfway through it, have each of my collaborators write a little something about what insights we're getting. And I'll put that on the website as well, so it can be kind of an ongoing process through my
Okay, and
website.
if you do put that up halfway through, that would be something that I could read through. And then if we manage to arrange another live stream, it would give me a basis for talking with each of you about these different insights. so you could elaborate a little bit more about them vocally. We'll see if that's arranged. I mean, this was fantastic in and of itself. Starting the new year, helping you launch this is just fantastic. So
I really appreciate your help, John, and I think you can see this amazing instrument. It's hard for me to get it in the frame, but we are blessed to have this amazing organ hall with these 2 instruments. We've even got a little audience here already, and we are very grateful to the administration of the Arizona State University School of Music for access to these instruments over 192 straight hours.
Okay, have a great time. And as they say in France, merde, merde, merde. Okay, so for now. Yes. There. Well, that was amazing, folks. I will just take a moment. We will probably boost this live stream for you so that it will circulate to more people who are organ lovers. I want to remind you that if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on any of our other platforms, please do not just like the video, follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn. And make sure that you get access to more than 1,000 live performances online in this coming year. With that, I will sign off. And maybe we'll be back later in the week with a follow-up 4 days from now to talk about how this experiment has been going. Ciao for now.